We are in the concluding section of the sixth chapter, which is titled Dhyana Yoga. We'll be reading verses 46 and 47. So please repeat. We will recite 46 once and then we'll go back and recite 47. And all of you can repeat that one for 3 times. Let's start with verse number 46. Please repeat. Tapasvibhyodiko yogi
Tapasvibhyodiko yogi
Jnanibhyopi matodikaha Karmibhyaschadiko yogi Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna Tapasvibhyodiko yogi Jnanibhyopi matodikaha Karmibhyaschadiko yogi Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna Tapasvibhyodiko yogi Jnanibhyopi matodikaha Karmibhyaschadiko yogi Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. I'll read the translation and then continue with the next verse because these two are connected and we will make that connection. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. We'll skip this purport. We'll look at the next purport after reciting the verse. Please repeat. Text number 47. Yoginamapi sarvesham
Madgatena antaratmana
Shraddhavan bhajate yoma Same yukta tamo mataha Yoginamapi sarvesham Madgatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yoma Same yukta tamo mataha Yoginamapi sarvesham Madgatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yoma Same yukta tamo Yoginamapi sarvesham Madgatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yemam Same yukta tamo mataha
Yoginamapi sarvesham
Madgatena antaratmana
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam Same yukta tamo mataha
Yoginamapi sarvesham
Madgatena antaratmana
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam
Same yukta tamo mataha
Same yukta tamo mataha योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो माम् स मे युक्ततमो मतः। योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो माम् स मे युक्ततमो मतः।
Yoginam,
योगिनाम्
of yogis,
of yogis
api,
api
also,
also
sarvesham,
सर्वेषाम्
all types of, mat katena,
मद्गतेन
abiding in me,
abiding in me,
always thinking of me,
always thinking of me,
antaha atmana,
antaha atmana,
within himself,
within himself,
shraddhavan,
Shraddhavan,
in full faith,
in full faith,
bhajate,
bhajate,
renders
renders
transcendental,
transcendental,
loving service.
loving service.
Yaha,
Yaha,
one who, mam,
Mam,
to me,
to me,
the Supreme Lord,
the Supreme Lord,
Saha,
Saha,
he,
he,
may,
may,
by me,
by me,
Yukta,
Yukta,
Tama,
Tama,
the greatest yogi,
the greatest yogi,
Mataha,
Mataha,
is considered.
is considered.
Translation in Bhagavad is divine grace is Bhaktivedanta Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. It's a slightly longer purport, so I would read a little bit of this and then I would pass the mic on to others. That way everyone is engaged. Something can The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the word bhaj, which is used when there is a need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms this as follows. Ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajanti avajananti sthanad drashtaha patantyadaha. Can somebody take it from there?
Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajanati used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagavad Gita, avajanati mamam mudha. Only the fools and rascals deriving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without future results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, it is called Bhakti yoga, the culmination. Actually, Bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze Bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name. Karma yogi, jnana yogi or dhyana yogi, raj yogi, hatha yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination.
Can we give it to some Prabhus? One, Prabhu listen. Thank you, Mataji.
It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyamkumar, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded, illuminating all sides, is his gorgeous lustres, which is called Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Narasimha, Vara, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. The stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature.
Someone else wants to take it.
यस्य देवे परा भक्तिर् यथा देवे तथा गुरौ तस्येते कथिता हि अर्थाः प्रकाशन्ते महात्मनः.
Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Svetastra Upanishad 623. Bhaktir asya bhajanam tad eham tavradi nair yasendu sumin manaha kalpanam etad eva namiskaramyam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkaramya. Gopal Kapani, Upanishad 115. These are some of the means for performance of bhakti, or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Dhani Yoga.
Thank you. Om Jnana-Mirandasya Prananjana-Shalakaya Chakshura-Ulitam-Yenam Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha. Shrimad Krishna Namo Shrimad Krishna 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 Swami Namaste Saraswati Gauram Vijaya Devashresh Namaste Devashtara. Go back to the translation, please. So, reading the translation of 647. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So, yesterday we celebrated the auspicious occasion of Gita Jayanti, about 5,000 odd years back. The first day of battle in Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So we see Arjuna was all confused, even though Arjuna was a great warrior and a pure devotee. Many of the purports, Srila Prabhupada makes this very clear. Pandavas, all of them were pure devotees. So a pure devotee means he is never under the clutches of Maya. A pure devotee means he is already liberated. But then for our benefit, Krishna sprinkled some dust of magic on Arjuna and bewildered Arjuna, so that Arjuna could actually act as if he was in confusion. He was in a state of mind where he was not sure whether he should fight or whether he should run away from the battlefield. Now, Arjuna was asking these questions on behalf of us for our benefit. So as it is said here, there are few keywords that we should catch on here. So we see Sanskrit is more clear when we read it from the end. So let's break down this verse to get to those few keywords. And if we could just meditate on those few keywords and internalize, that will be the best way we can understand this verse and also Bhagavad Gita. If you could just go back to the word, the English verse. So, if you look at, yes, thank you. Yoginam api sarvesham margatena taratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma same yuktatama mataha. So, first thing is, Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, and Mahabharata is considered Panchama Veda. Vedas are apaurushaya, means Vedas were not written by anyone, but Vedas were revealed. They existed forever. Vedas are eternal. So Mahabharata, which was compiled by Vedavyas, Vedavyas is a literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even before Mahabharata actually happened, all the characters were born, all the activities were carried out, Vedavyas had written Mahabharata and he had passed it on to his disciples already. So it wasn't something that was written after the fact. So Vedavyas wrote Mahabharata, which is Panchama Veda, and there are two parts in Mahabharata that are of high value. Both are in the Shanti Parva and Anushasan Parva. One is Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of the Supreme Lord. Bhishma recites them to Yudhishthira Maharaj. The second one is Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is speaking this invaluable knowledge to Arjuna. So, when we look at this, Krishna is saying the last two words, it is Mataha. Krishna is saying this is my opinion. It's considered my opinion. If you look at the translation, it will be much more clear. Mata means opinion. So these are Krishna's words. So when we see that this is Krishna's word, Krishna being the highest authority, because Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedantakrit. Krishna is saying, I am the creator of Vedas. In one sense, Vedas are eternal, but unless it was Krishna's will, Krishna's mercy, Vedas would not be revealed to Rishis and Munis. The way the Vedas came to this material universe is that they were revealed to the Rishis and Munis. That is why each mantra in Veda has a Rishi, has a Devata. Devata is the predominant deity of that Vedic mantra, and the Rishi is the Rishi to whom the Vedic mantra was revealed. For example, Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra was revealed to Vishwamitra Muni. So there is a Rishi, there is a Devata, Chandas, and Rishi for each mantra. So unless it is the desire of the Supreme Lord, these mantras would not be actually revealed to the Rishis. That is why Krishna is saying Vedanta Krit. I am the creator of the Vedas in that sense, even though Vedas are eternal. Now, anything that is said in Vedas, it's absolute truth. And Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita being part of the Mahabharata, it is Panchama Veda. Mata here is considered, it is part of the Veda, and Krishna's words means it's absolute truth. So we have to attach this importance in order to understand the other parts of these words. It's Krishna's words, it's highest, it's absolute truth. So Krishna is saying here, it is me mataha, it is my opinion. What is his opinion? He's saying, saha yukta tamaha. He's saying that yogi, saha yukta tamaha. So yukta, there are many meanings, but in this context, it has to be taken as one who is connected or engaged closely with me. So Krishna is saying that yogi is closely connected with me. Yukta tamaha. Again, it is yukta, yukta tara, yukta tama. Yukta is the word. It is just like high, fast, faster, fastest. The superlative degree of yukta is yukta tamaha. So the highest way one can connect with Krishna, how is Krishna himself is revealing here. So what is the best way we can connect with Krishna? That is revealed here. What is the best way is said in the third line. Saying, Yoginamapi sarvesham madhyate nataratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam. He is using two words here that are important. He is saying, one who is bhajate, one who worships me, one who renders devotional service to me. Me, Krishna is saying, to me. And that person rendering devotional service to Krishna, Shraddhavan, with full faith. These are the two keywords that we have to catch. So if one renders devotional service, bhajate, How Shraddhavan, with full faith. Then what happens? Yukta Tamaha Saha. He becomes completely connected with me. Our whole life, the purpose is meant to connect with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said this many times. The reason why we are here in this material world struggling is because we have forgotten our connection with Krishna. We are parts and parcel of Krishna. We, even though are still connected, we have forgotten that connection. That connection is the one that is actually keeping us alive, keeping us who we are. Otherwise, we do not have our existence. That is the dharma of the living entity. That is why it says, Savai dharmo, savai pumsam paro dharmo, yato bhaktir adokshate. Para dharma, the natural constitutional activity of a living entity is to perform devotional service to Krishna. And since we have forgotten that connection that we have with Krishna, we are actually suffering in this material world. We are in this material world taking different bodies only because we are not aware of that connection. That connection still exists. Krishna remembers us. We don't remember Krishna. So if we want to become that yukta, to connect, to engage with Krishna, what do we have to do? Two things. Bhajate. We have to serve, engage ourselves in devotional service. How? Shraddhavan, with full faith. So these are the two key things. If we engage ourselves completely with full faith in Krishna's service, then we are connected, then we are liberated. So the important part that is missing here is in the second line. Krishna is saying, can you go back to the second line?
Yogi Namapi Sarvesam.
Antaha Atmanaha. Now, Atma, depending on the context in Sanskrit, can mean many things. It can mean body, it can mean mind, it can mean Jivatma, it can mean Paramatma. But here, in this context, Antaha Atmanaha, Atma means mind. So if we engage our mind in full faith, render devotional service to Krishna, then we are completely connected with Krishna. So how do we use or engage our mind is what Krishna has covered since the beginning of the 6th chapter. That is Dhyana Yoga. That is where Krishna has come and said, okay, if you want to engage your mind, control your mind. How do you control your mind? Go to a secluded place. Sit in a place where you can get yourself disconnected from the whole world. And then you have to practice meditation on me. To which Arjuna, this is end of the Dwapara Yuga, previous Dwapara Yuga, about 5,000 years plus. Arjuna is saying, Krishna, this is very difficult. I cannot control my mind. To which Krishna says it is possible. How? Abhyasena Vairagyena. Now, this is end of Dwapara Yuga. And now we are in Kali Yuga. Our minds are even more weaker. It's not possible. That's where Srila Prabhupada is coming back here and then saying, yoga here means bhakti yoga. And especially in Kali Yuga, Nama Sankirtana Yoga is the one that actually lets our mind control happen. It purifies our mind, and then through that we will be able to actually gain more faith. Like Drona Prabhu was saying, every time you chant, you feel that connection, and this is real. You can experience it. You just chant for a while, you yourself will experience. Because these are spirituality, just like swimming, or just like learning bicycle. It's not theoretical, it is practical. So unless you practice, get into the water and swim yourself, no amount of theory can help you.
That is where the practice comes, and that is where Srila Prabhupada has made such a huge, profound effect on the masses. Where chanting is effective if you use it the way it has to be used. So chanting helps. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalam, Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. So through the medium of chanting, one is able to gain control on the mind, and using that mind, one is able to gain faith. Through that faith, if one is able to serve Krishna, then he is completely connected with Krishna. Then he becomes Yukta Tamaha. And that connection, when it becomes complete, then one is liberated and they don't have to take the birth again. So that is the whole idea of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is the whole idea why Krishna is saying here, become a bhakti yogi. Yoginam api sarveshna madhyate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoga same yukta tamamataha. Now, we have till 6:15. 6:15. Now, this is all theory. So in practice, are there some examples that we can see that actually have this faith? Using that faith, they have served Krishna, and serving Krishna has connected them with Krishna completely. Serving through that faith, how that has made them closer to Krishna, or how that has made their connection, their awareness of being connected with Krishna complete. So there are many examples that we can see. We also can see the contrast or the exact opposite. If you are even connected with Krishna, if you are in close connection with Krishna, if you don't have that Shraddha, if you don't have that faith in Krishna, then you are not connected, you are not Yukta Tamaha at that time. You are never going to get close to Krishna and then complete your goal of this human form of life. So there are both the examples we can see. Let's take the example of the second, the latter, where you don't have faith. Somehow you are connected still with Krishna. Somehow you have that connection. But the result is what? The result is you are not Yukta Tamaha. You are not connected with Krishna to go back to the spiritual world. So one very big example is Duryodhana. Duryodhana, he was related to Krishna. Krishna's son was married to Duryodhana's daughter. In that way, he was very closely related. Now, in spite of that, in spite of a lot of association of Krishna and Balaram, the Adi Guru, Duryodhana spent 12 or 14 years taking Gada Shiksha from Balaramji. So there was an intimate connection. But what happened? How did Duryodhana want to use that intimate connection that he had? He didn't develop the faith that this personality is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I have to use this connection to gain awareness of my original constitution position and then go back. Rather, what he did, he was trying to cunningly seek the hand of Subhadra, Mother Subhadra, from Balaramji, so that he can get the Yadava strength behind him. In case if there is a war, then they will be behind them to support them to defeat Pandavas. So that is his ulterior motive. So he didn't get his ulterior motive fructified, neither did he have the same end result as what Pandavas did. Pandavas, on the other hand, they had the same connections with Krishna and Balaram. But what did Pandavas do? Pandavas, they actually made use of that connection to serve Krishna, knowing fully well Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Duryodhana never accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even when Krishna showed Duryodhana the same Virat Rupa. Krishna, when he came to Hastinapur as a messenger to stop the war, Krishna actually showed the Vishwarupa, Virat Rupa that he showed Arjuna later in the war. But Duryodhana said, "Oh, I have many magicians like you working under me, taking salary from me, so it's not great. They can do even greater magic." So he had no faith in Krishna. And that is why he never accepted Krishna as God, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But our Pandavas accepted. So the result was entirely different. The 12 years Pandavas spent in Vanaparva, in the forest, they were most happy. They gained all kinds of things. They gained all, like for example, Arjuna, he gained all kinds of weaponry in those 12 years. Those same 12 years, even though Duryodhana had taken up all the wealth that Pandavas had, Duryodhana was miserable. Why? He hadn't made that connection that Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Krishna says very clearly, Ye yathama prapadyante tataiva bhajamyaham. However you approach me, that way I reciprocate with you. So Pandavas were completely surrendered. Pandavas wanted to serve Krishna, knowing well that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna reciprocated with them. Even though outwardly it seems like Pandavas were suffering, 12 years of Vanavas, they lost everything that they had. But internally Krishna's protection was always there. But externally, Duryodhana had everything. He had the exclusively created palaces that were created for Pandavas. He had all the riches, everything, but he was miserable. So this is how things can be different if you connect yourself with Krishna with full faith. If you don't have that faith, if you are connected with Krishna, you are closely associated with Krishna, nothing will change. So, the other example we can think about how full faith can give you everything. Our own Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, when he came to US, he had literally nothing. 6, 8, 10 rupees. Anybody remembers how many rupees Srila Prabhupada had?
40 rupees.
40 rupees?
Yeah.
40 rupees, no known contacts, no known place to stay. And Prabhupada had no sponsors, so to speak, to start a movement as big as this. But what did Prabhupada have? Prabhupada actually writes in Jaladuta before Prabhupada reached Boston. Prabhupada writes, and we print this every year in our souvenir book, the inside front page, the Prabhupada's that one poem. The Prabhupada is writing, Krishna, I don't know why you brought me here. I have no devotion, I have no knowledge, but I have only one thing. I have full faith in your holy name. So Krishna, please make me dance as you like. Make me dance as you like. So what happened? Because of that faith that Srila Prabhupada had, everything was just revealed. Actually, Prabhupada later on, remember this was Harish, you remember that verse? Harish Shedanam Prabha. Yasyanugraham ichhami. Yasyanugraham ichhami. Krishna says this in Bhagavatam. Yasyanugraham ichhami. Harishe tad dhanam shanai. Krishna says, one who I want to favor, what I do? I take away all his richness. And Prabhupada was actually made to lose all his business. He was made to lose all his money. Prabhupada later on said,
He said, I understand now why Krishna did this. So Prabhupada could understand, could connect. So the faith Prabhupada had in the holy name, Prabhupada actually lost materially but then gained everything because he became Yuktatama. So that is what we have to aspire for. Our whole idea of following in Krishna consciousness is to gain this faith in Krishna. Using that faith, if we can serve Krishna, if we can render some devotional service to Krishna, eventually, out of causeless mercy of Krishna, what will happen? Krishna will just make that connection happen, where we can become aware of our connection, last connection with Krishna, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and at the time of death, we'll be able to remember Krishna. So I'd like to close here. We have 2 minutes if anyone has a quick one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisances. In this purport, I am reading that actually Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze Bhakti Yoga, minutely one has to understand these other yogas. So Prabhuji, my question is, knowing in the age of Kalis, I see this way, there are Vakarmis, from Vakarmis there is a problem.
Can you please hold the mic, please?
In this Kali age, most of the time, there are Vikarmis, and from the Vikarmis there is a progression towards Karmis, and from Vikarmis there are Sakam Karmis and Nishkam Karmis. So one who are Sakam Karmis, meaning having fruitive desires, how can he link it with the Bhakti Yoga? Knowing that one is in the Sakam Karmi, means he is expecting fruits from his karmas by doing daily duties and responsibilities. At the same time, staying in that position of oneself, how can he practice Bhakti Yoga, and how would he cultivate the faith in that? Because the Harinam is not coming, it's not a natural constitution. I mean, it's a constitution position, we know it, but it's not coming when we are doing this. So, could you please?
So if there is a Sakama Karmi, it's there in the Karmakanda in Vedas also. You want, say, for example, Ashwamedha Yaga, you perform Ashwamedha Yaga, then what happens if you perform 100 Ashwamedha Yagas, you become Indra. You want Putra Kameshti, you want a son, you perform Putra Kameshti Yaga, you get a son. So these are all Sakama activities. Now if you have Sakama activities, we'll only get this limited results. But then the total result is what? You'll gain faith in the Vedic scriptures. So there is a saying which says, why there is the mention about you do this, you get this, you do this, you get this. That is only to gain your faith, to increase your faith that yes, what is there in Vedas, they are true. So at some point in their future lives, in their future, they will then follow to the next steps. From Sakama Kama, they will go to Nishkama Kama. So Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning here, only if you have a Nishkama Karma Yoga, then you will be able to progress quickly to the Bhakti Yoga. So Sakama, you will get what you want. Nishkama, you will get Krishna. Nishkama Karma Yoga.
So it means that we have to become we have to practice detachment, then only the Shraddha will enter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Shri Prabhupada.
Hey, Jai.